How do you judge success as a photographer on Instagram? Well, if you ask most people, they'll probably say it's the amount of followers you have. And maybe they're right. But why do people follow you in the first place? Now, to begin with, I'm not a professional photographer, but I really enjoy taking photographs as a hobby and I want to get better at it. Last year I decided I was going to open an Instagram account. And I decided I'd only post my best photographs, whatever that means. And of course, if I was posting only my best photographs, these had to be edited on professional software, didn't they? I started off with Photoshop but very quickly became disheartened as every time I opened it, I decided it wasn't exactly user-friendly. Then I moved on to Lightroom. Then I got tired of paying a subscription to Adobe and I moved on to Affinity Photo, which requires just a one-off payment of £50. But as time went by, I realised I was posting less and less images, and after about a year I only had about 12 images on my Instagram account, and I wouldn't say I was particularly proud of any of those. I told myself, well, it's only a hobby, don't sweat it, but at the same time I really wanted to improve. But what's the point of a hobby if you don't enjoy it anymore? What could I do to get myself out of the creative rut that I was stuck in? Well, as often happens, YouTube came to my rescue. After looking at the channels of lots of different professional photographers and hearing their stories, I discovered that what I was doing was taking my photography far too preciously. For too long I held on to the idea that all my images had to be shot on a DSLR and only edited on professional software. But it's easy to forget that you have a pretty decent camera on you most of the time, your phone. Now, whilst phones don't have the optics or the manual controls or even the pixels of most DSLRs, where they do shine is in their ease of use and their immediacy. So on my daily walks to the village, I began to shoot anything and everything that interested me using only my phone. And suddenly, it was as if a blindfold had been lifted from my eyes. I'm lucky enough to live in a beautiful leafy part of London, but sometimes I am guilty of taking it for granted, walking with my head down, lost in thought. Nearly all of the images I've taken in the last month or so have been taken within a mile of my house, on roads and woodland paths that I've walked for the past decade but never really fully appreciated before as a photographer. I'm producing a lot of black and white images at the moment, but I don't really know why that is. It's certainly not a conscious thing, it just started to happen. And somehow shooting in black and white means that I'm concentrating more on my framing and the way the light falls within the image. And I don't seem to be cropping much either. I think I'm enjoying the challenge of framing the image just as I want it before pushing the button. I try to post an image at least 5 days a week, giving myself the weekend off. And the way I'm feeling at the moment, that doesn't seem to be a problem. I try to keep my editing as simple as possible too, and that helps me to post every single day. I edit only on my phone or my iPad in an app called Darkroom. Now, of course, the technical side of photography is important, and of course I'm going to go back to shooting with my camera in manual mode. But I'm going to go back with fresh eyes and fresh inspiration. I think I just needed to dump all of the technical things for a while that were getting in my way so that I could get back to what it is I actually enjoy about photography. So let's get back to my original question. What does success look like for a photographer on Instagram? Well, if you're talking about taking images that make you happy, I suppose that's success in itself. But I've started to take images that prove to me that I'm learning and improving as a photographer, and maybe even finding a style or voice of my own. And who knows, that may even lead to me getting paid for my work one day. In the last month I've gained about 10 new followers. Now that's laughable to some people, but at the same time, if you consider my account had next to no followers for over a year, it's a pretty big improvement. Firstly though, you have to approve of yourself and the pictures that you're taking. Don't seek the approval of others for the art you're making. Just remember that the vast majority of professional photographers out there took thousands of pictures as joyful amateurs before they ever got paid for their work, and many of them still continue to do personal projects on the side. Not because they're being paid, but because they love it. And that's what I've rediscovered.